Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my South Carolina football predictions for the 2019 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. We have a subscriber goal of 200 subscribers by August 24th. We have 24 days to hit that goal, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed yet, it's greatly appreciated if you do that. I would love to hit that goal, and also you won't regret hitting that subscribe button. We'll go through the pros and cons for South Carolina, then your best case and worst case scenario, then your 3 toughest and 3 easiest games. Then we'll go through the schedule game by game. I'll tell you which game South Carolina is going to win and lose. Then I'll give you a score as well for each of these games, and then I'll give you a final record prediction and conference record prediction. 2 quick notes before we continue. First note is do not hold me to the game by game picks and the scores. Just hold me to the final record prediction and conference record prediction at the end. Second quick note, I do want to give someone a shout out who gave me a shout out on his channel. He's a big Gamecock. He's a big South Carolina Gamecocks fan. Most of you probably know who he is, but if you don't, go check out Carolina Jackpot. He's a big he's a big South Carolina fan. And he also does lottery scratch offs. That's actually kind of has a market on YouTube, lottery scratch offs. So if you're interested in that, you can also go check him out for that as well. But just want to give him a shout out. I already did give him a shout out when he gave me a shout out on his channel. But since this is a South Carolina video, just someone that if you want to watch a South Carolina fan, because I'm a Maryland Terps fan. If you want to watch a South Carolina fan react to your games, he's the guy to check out. But anyways, let's start off with the pros and cons. 3 pros and 2 cons. First pro is your defense. I do think the South Carolina defense is going to be pretty good this year. They're not going to be there with Alabama, Georgia. They're not going to be there with those 2 teams, but I think they're in that second tier of defenses in the SEC. And I think the defense is going to carry them over some of these teams. So that's why I put down the defense as your first pro. Second pro is your quarterback, Jake Bentley. Jake Bentley, listen, he throws too many interceptions for my liking, but he is one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. He's been there for a while. This is his final year. So I think Jake Bentley is definitely a pro for South Carolina. And then your third pro is the home crowd. Listen, South Carolina has a home field advantage. I think the home field advantage and that crowd is going to win a game this year for South Carolina. So that's a prediction. I'll tell you which game that's going to be when we get to it. But I think the home crowd wins a game this year for South Carolina. 2 cons. First con is Will Muschamp. I don't think Will Muschamp is a championship head coach. I don't even think he'd get you to the SEC championship game personally. I think Will Muschamp is good if you want to go 8-4 every year. But, I mean, he might occasionally win 10 games, but that's just about it. That's what Will Muschamp would do. So I think he is a con, and I know you signed him to a 6-year extension, so he's basically going to be there this year, next, and at least next year probably, and probably even the year after that in 2021. Second con is your schedule. This is the toughest schedule in the country, in my opinion. People say it's Texas A&M. I think this schedule's tougher because Texas A&M, their schedule's kind of even into the final 2 games. There's a brutal end to the schedule. This schedule's just tough overall. I was having a conversation with somebody. South Carolina has the potential, I think, to play 8 teams that are going to be in the top 25 at some point this year. So that could be in the top 25 at some point this year. Some of them are going to be in the top 25 no matter what. So definitely a really tough schedule. Speaking about the schedule, here's your best case and worst case scenario. Here's the schedule right here in front of you, actually, so you can take a look at. I think that your best case scenario is 9-3. I'm going to be honest with you. You play Alabama, Georgia, and Clemson. You play Texas A&M on the road. You're going to lose at least 3 out of those 4 games, in my opinion. So, best case scenario, 9-3. Worst case scenario, 4-8. Outside of Charleston Southern and Appalachian State and North Carolina and Vanderbilt, with those 4 games, you could lose the rest of these games. I mean, Alabama at Missouri, even though you kind of own Missouri, but it is on the road. You haven't beat Kentucky since I was a baby. Let's see, at Georgia, Florida at home, you could lose that. At Tennessee, I know Will Muschamp is undefeated against Tennessee, but but you could definitely lose that. You can even lose at home against Vandy, but I think I'm gonna come out and say right now, I think North Carolina, Charleston Southern, Vandy, and Appalachian State, you win those 4 games. But we'll get into that in a little bit here. At Texas A&M, that's that. I mean, that's gonna be tough. And then Clemson at home. South Carolina fans think they could get the win this year against Clemson at home. It's gonna be tough. But anyways, worst case scenario, 4-8. 3 toughest games: Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia. If you look at every AP, not every AP, but if you look at every top 25 poll going into this year, those are your top 3 teams. Um, and it's you and man, I forgot my train of thought there for a second. But anyways, those are your top 3 teams: Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia, in no particular order. Then your 3 easiest games: Charleston Southern, Appalachian State, and Vandy. Charleston Southern, FCS opponent. Appalachian State, you're going to hear about how Appalachian State almost beat Wake Forest, even though that was in Appalachian State at home. That was a home game for Appalachian State, and then how they beat Michigan in 2007. But I think that's an easy game for South Carolina. And then Vandy, I went with Vandy over North Carolina because North Carolina is a neutral site game, and Vandy is a home game. I mean, I think you beat Vandy like 9 out of the last 12 years or something like that. So South Carolina seems to own Vandy the past decade or so. Anyways, let's get into the schedule now, game by game here. First game, neutral site game in Charlotte, North Carolina against North Carolina. Um, North Carolina fans think they have a shot in this one. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not give North Carolina much of a shot in this one. I feel pretty confident in this one. I'm picking South Carolina to win this one. I have a 31-21 South Carolina. Some South Carolina fans think they could win this one by 3 or 4 touchdowns. I highly doubt it. I think this game is probably a 2-touchdown game at most, but give me South Carolina 31-21. Next game, Charleston Southern. This will be a win as well, 52-6 against the FCS opponent. Next game, Alabama. Now listen, you're going to hear about how South Carolina beat Alabama in 2010. South Carolina fans are going to be bringing it up, and you're going to hear all of these radio stations and Feinbaum and all that. I think South Carolina stays in this game for 1/2, but I think when the third quarter comes around, I think Alabama with the depth they have, it's going to be too much for South Carolina. I think Alabama busts it. It's going to bust it open in the third quarter, and Alabama's going to win this game. This game's going to be on CBS, by the way. It's the opening game for CBS, since CBS has the SEC game of the week. 52-27 Alabama. But I think I do think South Carolina will be in this game for a half, but give me Alabama to win. There's no way I could pick South Carolina in this. And one other quick note, the way South Carolina can win this game, I think South Carolina is going to have to hope their defense can make stops against Tua and Jake Bentley plays the game of his life. I think that's the only way South Carolina has a shot in this game. And that might not even be enough. Next game, at Missouri. Missouri, to me, they're on the same level as you. I think these teams are pretty even for the most part. The game's in Missouri. I already did Missouri football predictions. I also already did Alabama football predictions as well. And by the way, North Carolina predictions are tomorrow as well. But anyways, Missouri is a team, in my opinion. They had that bowl ban, but I do think they're going to have still a decent season. Went back and forth for this one. I just went with the home team. I think these teams are pretty even. I picked South Carolina to lose this one, 38-33. But I think these teams are pretty even, and it won't surprise me South Carolina goes into Mizzou and beats them. But I'm going to go Mizzou 38-33. Next game, Kentucky at home. You haven't beat Kentucky in 6 years. I'm going to be honest with you. I think South Carolina has to win this game if they want to make a bowl game, especially with this schedule. Um, I went back and forth with it. I think Kentucky's going to take a step back this year, but I still think Kentucky's going to be in a bowl game this year. South Carolina, in my opinion, I think they get a tick worse since they lose Debo Samuel. But overall, I did win with South Carolina. I think it's time for South Carolina to win this one. I have a 21-14. If you watch my Kentucky football prediction video, you already know that I had South Carolina winning this one. But it's time for South Carolina to win to beat Kentucky. It's in South Carolina. 21-14 South Carolina. Then you get your first bye week. Great time to have a bye week because next week you get Georgia on the road. This will be a loss, okay? I think this game is the toughest game of the year for South Carolina. I think this is the game, no matter what, South Carolina is going to lose. 42-20. Georgia, I don't think South Carolina is even going to really be in this game. I think Georgia jumps out early 14-0 and doesn't look back. And listen, I might be overreacting a little bit because I have seen some South Carolina fans saying, "Oh, we have a shot against Georgia." The reason why I did not give South Carolina much of a shot against Georgia is because of last year. Last year, I think, was the year South Carolina was going to beat Georgia. I think last year was going to be the year. Georgia is better than they were last year. The game is in Georgia. Last year, by the way, South Carolina lost 41-17 to Georgia, and everybody was very hyping that game. I think I even picked South Carolina to win that game, and they really disappointed me. So overall, I think that I just think that South Carolina is going to lose this game, 42-20. I think you get some late points in garbage time. Next game, Florida at home. Last year, this game, you were up 31-14 and blew the lead. If you remember, I said at the beginning of the video saying how the home crowd was going to win the game this year for South Carolina. I think this is the game. I'm calling for the upset. South Carolina could be kind of desperate at this point. I think South Carolina beats Florida 38-35. And if you already watched my Florida football prediction video, you already knew that I had South Carolina beating Florida. And if you watched my Georgia football prediction video, you already knew that I had Georgia beating South Carolina. But I have South Carolina beating Florida 38-35. I think Florida is the better team. But I think since the game is in South Carolina, give me South Carolina in the upset. Next game at Tennessee. Tennessee is a team that's on the rise. South Carolina. Will Muschamp has beat Tennessee every time that he's been heck. Every time he faced Tennessee, actually, even back in his days at Florida, Will Muschamp was being up on Tennessee. I think this game goes back and forth. I think it's kind of low scoring. I am going with Tennessee, though. I do think South Carolina is a bit better than Tennessee, but I'm going to give the home field advantage to Neyland Stadium and say that Tennessee wins this game by field goal 20-17, Tennessee. Next game, Vandy at home, Vanderbilt at home. This will be a win, 31-20. I think Vanderbilt plays you all tough. But I think at the end, South Carolina is the better team, and they'll get the win 31-20. Next game, Appalachian State at home. This will be a win as well, 34-20, South Carolina. Once again, I think Appalachian State. I think they play you tough. I think this game is really going to be like 34-10, and then Appalachian State scores some garbage points in the final 6 or 7 minutes of the game. So it's going to be 34-20, but it's not going to feel like a 34-20 game. But South Carolina, I think, wins against Appalachian State pretty easily, 34-20. Next game at Texas A&M, loss. Okay, if you already watched my Texas A&M football prediction video, you already knew that I had Texas A&M beating South Carolina. I don't give South Carolina much of a shot against Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M is much better than South Carolina. I have it 38-16 Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M is probably going to just jump out early to like a 10-0 lead and not look back. So give me Texas A&M to beat South Carolina 38-16. Then you get your second bye week, and then the final game of the year, the Palmetto game. Yeah, the Palmetto game. Clemson at home last year. You guys were in it in the first half, but then Clemson pulled away in the second half and won it by 3 touchdowns. A lot of people are saying South Carolina has the best chance to beat Clemson this year. I disagree with that. I think Syracuse has the best chance to beat Clemson this year. But the game is in Columbia. It is in It is in South Carolina. Uh, I personally think this game isn't going to be close. I think Clemson's going to be reminded about last year how they let South Carolina actually be in that game for a half, and then I think Clemson's just going to win South Carolina out of their own building. 48-21 Clemson. If you already watched my Clemson football prediction video, you already knew that I had Clemson. But overall, I do think that Clemson is just miles ahead of South Carolina right now. Today, and I think 5 years down the road as well. You heard that what Sweeney say. He says it's not even a rivalry anymore. It really isn't. I can't remember. I can't. Well, I think under Steve Spurrier when they had those like 10 and 11 win seasons. I do think South Carolina did pick off Clemson a few times, but Clemson's just miles ahead of South Carolina. I don't see this game being close. 48-21 Clemson. So that's the game by game picks. Count up all the wins and losses. 6-6 with a 3-5 conference record. 6-6 with a 3-5 conference record. I do think South Carolina makes a bowl game. If you say I had to pick 5-7 or 7-5, I would say 5-7. This is a really tough schedule. If the schedule was easier, I'll probably go with 8-4, but this schedule is just really tough, so I say 6-6 with a 3-5 conference record. Comment down below, tell me what you think. I always like hearing from y'all. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow's North Carolina. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.